I'm Jason Glass. Welcome to the Jason Glass Performance Lab. Every day, my research and my experience becomes more advanced, but my training philosophy is basic. To create explosive rotational power, you need to load and explode. Each episode, we are going to use my 3 keys to unlocking explosive rotational power: sequencing, the pelvic powerhouse, and segmental stabilization. Welcome to the Jason Glass Performance Lab. I'm Jason Glass. To all my lab rats out there, hey, how you doing? Today is a great show because a lot of you guys have been writing in and asking me for my favorite exercises. I also get some that say, what is my favorite golf exercise? I can't say that there is one perfect exercise for golf because each golfer has different needs and they need different exercises. But the exercises that I'm going to show you today are really designed to create explosive rotational power in your golf game. Now, we know that the golf swing, from the top of your downswing, it starts with a proper sequence. There is a correct sequence that will give you more power, and when it's not done in the right order, you actually lose power. I'm going to demonstrate that by using what I call big stick swings. This dowel or pole, whatever you can find in your house, as long as it's big and long, we're going to do some swings with it, and what it's going to do is it's going to over-exaggerate what we're doing in our golf swing. Now, like I said, there is a correct order to your downswing, and the sequence of parts of your body, which one fires first, which one fires second, which one fires third. The order is this. You start with the lower body. Your lower body initiates the downswing. Then that energy transfers into your upper body. Your upper body fires second. Then your arms fire, and lastly, the golf club fires. So, when we're doing these big stick swings, you can see an over-exaggeration of the sequence of the golf swing. Can you hear that whoosh? That whoosh is power. Now watch what happens when I do it out of sequence. I'm just going to use my arms first. Not only does that look silly, it's not very powerful. The whoosh sounded pretty lame. So, you can see that if I start the golf swing with my lower body first, from the top of my backswing, start with the lower body, then the shoulders, then the arms, then the club, we can create more power. Now, let's bring it back into the gym. Here is a great exercise for working on sequencing, because this exercise, if you don't do it in the right sequence, there's not a chance of finishing it correctly. Now, I'm going to use a kettlebell. This is a very advanced exercise. If you want to make it easier, you can use a simple dumbbell. This is my single leg deadlift to a single arm shoulder press. I'm going to take the kettlebell in my left hand, standing on my right leg. I'm going to go into a perfect single leg deadlift. Now from here, I'm going to drive with my lower body. Remember, we start our downswing with the lower body. You see how I had to develop power with my lower body, stabilize my body, and press with my shoulders? Let me show you that again. Now, if you want to make it really tricky, try doing 2 in a row where you have to stick your landings. Woo! That's a tough one. What I want to get across here is that the sequence has to be correct. If you got the right sequence in your downswing, you're going to be able to create more explosive rotational power. To maximize power in our golf game, we know that we have to unlock one of the secrets to explosive rotational power, and that is segmental stabilization. If we want to transfer all the power of our lower body to our upper body, into our arm, and ultimately into the golf club, we have to have a strong core. These are 2 of my favorite core exercises, and I think you're going to love them. The first one is a plank with a 1-arm row. I'm going to be as rigid and stable as I can with my torso while my arm is rowing. The weight is like a pendulum moving, and I have to resist rotation and my hips diving while I'm in a stable plank position. This is a challenge. Pick the right weight for yourself so that you can have success and stabilize through your core. That's priority number one. So you get yourself into a nice plank position. From here, we're going to take our left hand off, grab onto a weight, and one arm row. Remember, the focus of this exercise is to have core stability. My second favorite exercise is a core stability push-up. These are great. Get down into a prone position, and what I'm going to do is take my hands and put them under my nose. Now from here, all I'm thinking is solid body, solid body, solid body. I'm going to push my body up in one piece. And back down. It's kind of like an elevator going up and down. But what I don't want to see is the body moving in different segments. That would be a poor segmental stabilization. So watch it again. The whole body is going to move as one piece. I have to tighten up every muscle in my body and push as hard as I can with my hands. Challenge yourself with those two exercises. You'll strengthen your core, and that'll give you the ability to transfer more energy from your lower body through your core to your upper body and eventually into your golf club, and that's going to improve your power in your game. The pelvic powerhouse has two key movement patterns, and we got to know if you can do it or not. So the first thing that we're going to look at is pelvic tilt. If we get you into a golf posture position and we get you to stick your butt out as far as you can and tuck under as far as you can, stick your butt out as far as you can, tuck under as far as you can, we can see that the pelvis can move freely. What some of you are going to have is where the knees and the upper body try and create movement because your lower body doesn't have the mobility. It's going to look like this. You can see no movement's coming from here. Why is this important? We need to be able to tilt our pelvis, stretch our abs, so on the downswing we can create some contraction from that stretched elasticity of my abs so the hips fire and I get the power of the glutes and abs into my golf swing. But that's only one component of the pelvic powerhouse. The second part is pelvic rotation. So what I want to see you do again is go into golf posture, take your hands across your chest. Now watch my pelvis. It's rotating in a rotary fashion, but as it's rotating, my upper body can stay stable. That means I can separate my lower body from my upper body. What some of you guys are going to have is where there's no separation. The upper body and the lower body are going to move as one. I don't like this very much. And the other one is this. You're going to have lateral movement. So instead of actually separating, your hips are moving sideways. So as you can see, my hips are rotating, my upper body is stable. Now some of you might be wondering, how do my hips move so freely? Well, it's because I'm extremely gifted. But you need that exact movement pattern to be put together with the first one, the tilt, and it'll look like this. When I add rotation and tilt, it'll come together like this. What does this look like? It looks like impact position of some of the best ball strikers in the world. So if you are missing one of those two elements, you're not going to be able to get your pelvis into that same position that we want you to get into to create power and utilize that pelvic powerhouse. I'm going to share with you today my two favorite pelvic powerhouse exercises. Just don't tell anyone or share them with them. Keep it to yourself. The first one I love. It's called a 180-degree load and explode. I started using this with my professional snowboarders because they have to be able to load and explode and spin at really high rates. But what I found was when I started doing it with golfers, they had the same result. Even though their feet never left the ground, they were still able to generate that same explosive rotational power from their pelvis. So here's the exercise. I want to set myself up standing with my back to my target. Now from here, I'm just going to load and jump 180 degrees. Now you can see here, my upper body's rotating, but it's being led with my lower body. My lower body is driving my hips to create rotation. If we want to make it a little bit harder, and I really recommend you use a large platform, we can actually jump up a platform, 180 degrees back down, and then jump up again. Looks like this. If you try doing that exercise and just using your upper body, you'll see that you don't spin very quickly. But if you initiate the move with your lower body, wham, you feel like you're going to spin 360 degrees with very little effort. Whew, you can hear there, I'm out of breath. Just this 5 or 6 jumps creates so much anaerobic power in my body that it actually takes my breath away. The next exercise I'm going to show you is a 180-degree kettlebell swing. This is my second favorite exercise for creating pelvic powerhouse rotation. So I take my kettlebell and I start with my regular swings. Two-handed swing. Now I take that same movement, driving with my hips, pop, and I go right over the top. Now, if my timing is right, the kettlebell just flies freely over my head, and I turn 180 degrees. Now comes the tricky part. As the weight comes down, I have to decelerate and handle the accelerated kettlebell flying between my legs. I have to handle the load, drive it back up in the air, turn 180 degrees again. So try these exercises. They can be a lot of fun. Most importantly, they're going to help you enhance power in your pelvic powerhouse.